representation of the Department of Transportation.
Imagine islands connected, cities linked, people move with ease, progress is within reach. Imagine that happening now. In its first year, the Department of Transportation has started building major infrastructure projects, implemented policies and programs to reduce congestion in transport hubs, enhanced security, and made roads safer. The DOTR is building to connect, building towards progress, building for the future, building for the Filipino. Whether you need a convenient way to cross entire provinces or a quick commute across a busy city, DOTR is getting you there by train. From only 77 kilometers of operational railways, the DOTR will build 1,900 kilometers of railways nationwide. The Mindanao Railway System will be the first outside Luzon. The 102-kilometer Phase 1 will connect Tagum, Davao, and Digos, which will form part of the 1,530 Mindanao circumferential and spur lines that will link Davao, General Santos, Cotabato, Iligan, Zamboanga, Cagayan de Oro, Butuan, and Surigao, among other areas in Mindanao. We are also reviving the Philippine National Railways Luzon system, which will run from Clark in the north to Batangas City, Bicol, and Sorsogon in the south. In 3 years, traveling from Manila to Clark will only take 55 minutes. This 653-kilometer PNR Luzon system will be further extended north to La Union and Tuguegarao, and to Subic Freeport. The 116-kilometer system of railways identified in Mega Cebu Vision 2050 is also progressing. Detailed feasibility studies are now being started. And yes, Filipinos will get to experience its first subway system. With the Metro Manila Subway Project, you can get from Quezon City to Taguig in as little as 32 minutes. 2 extension projects are also now ongoing construction. The long-delayed LRT-1 South Extension Project extending from Baclaran to Cavite, and the LRT-2 East Extension Project extending from Santolan to Antipolo. The new MRT-7 from North EDSA to San Jose del Monte, Bulacan is well on its way for completion in 2019. These railway projects will decongest Metro Manila and spur economic growth in its peripheries. The Common Station, a project that has not moved in 8 years, will finally break ground in September. It will facilitate convenient transfer of passengers from all 4 lines, LRT-1, MRT-3, MRT-7, and later on, the subway system. All these reflect DOTR's mission for all its railway projects. Cover more ground to give commuters more ways to connect. The DOTR also kept its eyes to the skies and has worked from tech to tarmac to push air travel to new heights of quality. The main gateway to the Philippines, the NAIA, has had policy changes to reduce flight delays and solve congestion. Within the first 100 days of this administration, on-time performance of flights improved from 40% to 78%. General aviation was regulated to prioritize commercial flights. We added more seating, provided cleaner toilets, and now offer fast and free Wi-Fi throughout the airport. Rapid exit taxiways are being built for aircrafts to leave the runway at higher speeds. But above all, Laglag Bala is now a thing of the past. Airlines are offering more flights from Clark. 39 flights, domestic and international, have been launched. Airports from all over the country are getting a makeover. Runways are being expanded. Terminals are being improved. 8 regional airports are being equipped with night landing capabilities to allow them to accommodate flights after sunset. The new Puerto Princesa Airport is now complete and operational, already enhancing tourism in Palawan. It will accommodate close to 2 million passengers annually. The Bicol International Airport, which was delayed for 11 years, is finally getting built to decongest Legazpi Airport and make Albay an economic powerhouse. A new gateway to the Paradise Province of Bohol, the new Panglao Airport, will be completed next year. The world's first resort airport will rise in Mactan, Cebu in 2018 and will accommodate 12 million passengers annually. Even the airspace is having a facelift with a CNS ATM system, which will be fully operational in December. It comes with an air traffic center and 10 additional radars. This means that from only 3 radars, the country now has 13 radars covering 80% of the Philippine airspace. CNS ATM also guarantees better air traffic control management and a safer and more efficient flights. This is progress Filipinos can feel as it happens, with less flight delays, reduced congestion at the NAIA, and more options for their vacations. And as the rails and skies keep getting better, the DOTR also worked hard this year to improve the roads for all Filipinos. We can now say goodbye to dilapidated public utility vehicles as we strive to give Filipinos a dignified commuting experience. After 14 years, we are lifting the moratorium on franchises as part of the PUV modernization program. Routes will be rationalized. PUVs will be modernized. They will be safer, more convenient, and environment-friendly. The government will assist in migration via a low-interest, low-equity, and longer payment scheme financing program. To reduce long lines in LTO offices, the validity of driver's licenses has been extended to 5 years, and the distribution of cards will start in August. The 3 million backlog of license cards has been addressed. Distribution of the 1 million vehicle plates is targeted to start in September. For the first time, the DOTR was able to persuade key agencies to work together and form an interagency council on traffic, the closest thing to a single traffic authority. Through the I-Act, the government was able to intensify its campaign against traffic violators, illegally parked vehicles, illegal vendors, and colorum vehicles. Road safety measures are in place. Prohibiting use of electronic mobile devices while driving is now being enforced. Prohibiting small children from riding in motorcycles is in effect. To improve the quality of PUVs and to ensure comfort and safety of commuters, the point-to-point bus service was expanded from only 2 routes in 2015 to 8 routes today, covering Makati, Ortigas, Taguig, North EDSA, Fairview, and now Cavite. P2P buses are equipped with Wi-Fi, GPS, CCTVs, reclining seats, and advanced safety features. The P2P model will be adopted and further improved as we introduce the Bus Rapid Transit System to the Philippines. This is a dedicated roadway for buses to ensure fast and reliable travel times with a modernized fleet. We will build it in EDSA, Quezon Avenue, and Cebu. To improve traffic flow and maximize road usage in EDSA, the DOTR will build the Southwest Intermodal Transport Exchange in Parañaque, an intermodal terminal for provincial buses that will provide a safe and convenient transfer of passengers in the Cavite area. With the rails, skies, and roads making progress, the final frontier for the DOTR is our seas. As an archipelago, the Philippines needs to use its seas as much as its roads. This is why we have started building the first barge terminal in the country in Tanza. The Cavite Barge Terminal will utilize nautical highways to decongest roads. 1 barge trip is equivalent to a kilometer long of trucks making their way to the ports. Ports all over the country are being developed. 8 ro-ro ramps have been constructed. 1,500 linear meters of berth length have been added. Around 22,000 square meters of backup area for ports nationwide have been completed, and passenger terminal buildings are being modernized. The Davao Sasa Port was also identified as the model green port of the country and is undergoing modernization. A new Cebu International Container Port will be constructed to increase operational capacity of the main cargo gateway in Central Visayas. In order to improve inter-island connectivity and to boost tourism and accessibility with local communities, the DOTR is also implementing 81 social and tourism port projects nationwide. The Philippine Coast Guard is also implementing the Pag-asa Island Social Port Project in the Kalayaan Group of Islands. A new shipping route that will connect Philippines and Indonesia has been launched. The Davao-Jensan-Bitung route will reduce travel time from 3 to 5 weeks to just 2 to 3 days. Doing business will be easier. Goods will be cheaper. To improve the safety of navigation, the DOTR is also modernizing and rehabilitating our lighthouses. As of April 2017, lighthouse operational efficiency is at 93.87%. Construction of 7 lighthouses in the Kalayaan Island Group is also programmed. To secure our seas, the Philippine Coast Guard acquired vessels from Japan to quickly respond to coastal maritime incidents. The PCG shall also acquire offshore and fast patrol craft vessels and helicopters to enhance the response capability in search and rescue. The PCG likewise conducts regular maritime patrol in the Philippine Rise to contribute to the efforts of the government to establish effective control and presence in the area. A transit corridor has also been established at the Moro Gulf, Sulu Sea, and Basilan Strait in order to deter or immediately respond to attacks or emergencies. A numbering system is also being implemented for small boats to discourage illegal maritime activities. So you ask, how are we going to do all these? For big-ticket infrastructure projects, a hybrid formula for financing is being explored to speed up project implementation. Unsolicited proposals are also encouraged, so long as Swiss challenge requirements are fulfilled. Building these projects and carrying out reforms in the Transportation Department will not be a walk in the park. For a vision to be realized, changes have to start from within. Within the first 100 days of the new administration, 115 officials have resigned, retired, or have been dismissed due to corruption charges. Several more are under investigation. For transparency, bidding processes are being live-streamed on social media for the first time. Requests for documents may now be coursed through the FOI portal. Our social media pages are up-to-date and responsive. Apart from being the primary transportation department of our country, the DOTR is also contributing income to the national treasury. In 2016, the DOTR and its attached agencies remitted 25.8 billion pesos to the treasury, higher than the target and 2015 figures. For the first quarter of 2017, it has remitted 7 billion pesos. Corporations MIAA, CAAP, and PPA remitted 6.3 billion pesos in 2016. To help decongest Metro Manila, the DOTR is taking the lead in transferring its central office in Clark within the year. We are also building training and education centers such as the Driving Academy and the Philippine Railways Institute. There's still so much to be done, and we won't stop until dignity is back in commuting. Public transportation is efficient. Roads are safer. Cities are connected. And our gateways in air and sea are world-class. The DOTR did all of these for a nation of drivers, commuters, sailors, and frequent flyers. And we will keep on building. Building to connect. Building toward progress. Building for the future. Building for the Filipino.
I'm now ready for your questions.
All right, first question, Tuesday New of DZBB.
Hi, Secretary.
Hello, ma'am.
Apo. Sir, ang gandang pakinggan at magandang tignan yung video presentation po
Asahan
ninyo.
mo, ma'am, hindi mo lang mapapakinggan, hindi mo matitignan.
Opo.
Ma-experience mo rin in the future.
Opo. Pero aminin po natin na ang mukha po ng DOTR ngayon ay MRT at LRT. Ano naman po kaya muna ang pwede nating magawa para maibsan po yung pasakit sa mananakay tulad namin nung palaging pagpalya ng MRT?
Napakagandang katanungan ho yan. Ilagay lang ho natin sa tamang perspektiba. Tama ho ba na ang mukha ng Department of Transportation na sa MRT? Nakita nyo dito sa aking presentasyon ngayon na ang mukha ng transportation ay hindi lang ho BRT, ay hindi lang ho MRT. Oo, aaminin ko na may problema, pero dapat lang baybayin natin at tunghayan natin yung samot-saring muka ng DOTR. Hindi ho dapat huhusgahan kami sa isang aspeto ng maraming pagmumuka. Ganun pa man, sagutin natin yung inyong katanungan tungkol sa MRT. Ang MRT ho, ilagay naman natin ho sa tamang perspektiba, hindi ho ako humahanap ng rason o kadahilanan. Una ho, ang MRT ay mahigit ng 20 years. Okay? Ang MRT ho, for 20 years hindi napalitan ng riles at nakaroon ng samot-saring problema sa spare parts, sa maintenance at sa sistema. Pahirap, hindi naman ho yatang lubos na pahirap. Nakakapahirap, oo. Pero wag naman ho nating sabihin na yung MRT ay pahirap lamang. Meron din ho namang ginhawang idinudulot. Ano ho ang aming ginagawa? Tandaan na ninyo, 11 buwan pa lang kaming nandito. At sa 11 buwan na nandito kami, pinag-aralan at binalangkas namin ang sistema ng MRT. Nakita ho namin na may mga problema sa sistema. Meron hong malaking problema sa tinatawag na maintenance. Meron hong mas malaking problema sa tinatawag na inventory control. At meron din hong problema sa mga tao. Ihalo at idagdag nyo na dyan yung problema na tinatawag na signaling at power. Ito hong problemang ito ay hindi ho sakit ng ulong ibinigay ng Administrasyon Duterte sa atin. Ito ho ang sakit ng ulong dinatlan namin na kung saan sa aming pagdating ay linalagyan namin ng solusyon. Ano po yun? Sa mga darating na linggo, Yusek Cesar, apat na linggo siguro, meron ho tayong gagawing mga kilos na nauugma sa sistema. Meron ho tayong gagawing mga kilos na nauugma sa tinatawag na maintenance. Meron ho tayong gagawin na kilos na nauugma sa tinatawag na inventory control at meron din tayong gagawin na kilos na nauugma sa mga tao. All having been said, we are addressing the issue of MRT on the present equipment on the matters of present system. Kaya nga ba't pinipilit namin na darating ang panahon na ma-address namin yung tinatawag na signaling. Darating ang oras na ma-address namin ang power. Siyempre, ma'am, ang tatanungin mo, kailan? Ma'am, parating na ho kami dyan, kailangan ho calculated move na tinatawag. Kasi ho, ayaw kong isugal ang kapakanan, safety at life ng mga pasahero. Mas bale, murahin mo ako, ma'am, sa delay sa MRT. Pero sana, wag darating ang mga tao na mumurahin nyo kami kasi may nasaktan o may namatay. May ginagawa ho tayo, bigyan nyo kami ng konting palugit. A-addressan namin yan. Marahil ang tatanungin mo, yung Dalian, pati ho yan Dalian, pinag-aaralan namin yan. Tinitignan namin yung eksperimento ng ibang bansa sa lawak ng mundo dun sa Dalian. Tinitignan ho namin kung ano yung grado ng Dalian, yung kumpanyang nag-supply ng Dalian in relation to corporation existing in China. Lahat ho yan tinitignan. Ang inihingi ko lang ho, gaya ng paunang sinabi ko, sana ma'am, huwag nyo kaming husgahan sa tinatawag mong muka ng DOTR. Ang muka ho ng DOTR, samot-sari at hindi lang ho MRT.
Thank you, sir. Follow-up lang, sir, last. Within the year, sir, pwede ba na nating ma-experience yung ginhawa ng pagsakay sa MRT?
Meron hong pagbabago. Kasi yung ginhawa, mag-ingat-ingat ho tayo sa pananalita na yan. Baka pag sinabi kong, oo, may ginhawa, iisipin nyo, ginhawang ginahawa. Hindi ho. Siguro before the end of the year, makakapatagpo tayo ng mga 4 pa, di ba? Alam nyo ba, ma'am, na nung minsan akala natin mapapabilis yung takbo ng tren, kikil lang at linis nung riles? Hindi ho pala. Meron ho mga studies na nasumiti sa amin na kailangan, in a matter of some time, kailangan yung buong riles na yan o may mga parte ng riles na dapat nang palitan.
Okay. Henry Uri of DZRH. Microphone, please.
Okay tayo, ma'am?
Secretary, good morning. Kung ilalagay natin sa porsyento o sa rate, gaano kalaki ang kapabayaang ibinigay sa atin pagdating sa MRT at saka sa LRT ng previous administration?
Alam mo, ayaw kong tawirin yung kalsada na yan. Pagkat ayaw kong masumbatan at masabi akong nagtuturo ng daliri o gumagawa ng judgment. Sabihin na lang ho natin na problema. Yung problema, hindi ko ho sasabihin, problema yan, problema yan. Hindi ho. Problema, tutunganan ho natin yan hanggang makakaya. Hanggang makakaya. Malawak ba o madiin ang problema? Let the future make the answer as we make the measures necessary to have a more efficient, a more reliable, and a more safe train facility. Pagbigyan nyo na lang ho ako, ayaw kong maghusga. You know? Ayaw ko sanang maghusga.
Ang isang solusyon ho, yung I think yung pagpaparami ng tren at pagdaragdag ng ilang mga riles pa para sa buong Metro Manila. I think you have 76 kilometers railways na pinag-uusapan natin within Metro Manila.
Opo.
Ilan na ho ang natapos o matatapos ninyo within this administration dyan?
Ganito na lang ho, sabihin natin, kapareho nung sinabi ng video, hinahangad ho namin na bago matapos ang termino ng ating Pangulo na 5 taon, kailangan ho na ilagay na ho namin sa operable condition ang 1,900 kilometers of railway. Tama ho yung sinabi ninyo. Kailangan ho multipliers effect that is generated by numbers. Numbers in coaches, numbers in the number of trains. Kaya nga ho, meron tayong improved transportation system sa Metro Manila from Tutuban to Clark, from Clark to Los Baños, from Los Baños, Calamba to Bicol. And then having said that, we have to have a cargo railway system between Clark and Subic. This is the railway system in Central Luzon. Hindi ho pababayaan ang Mindanao. Nakita ho kanina dyan na yung first phase ng Mindanao Express na kung saan bubuuin ito ng mga 1,500 kilometers. Yung first phase ay maumpisahan next year. Pangmalawakang railway system pagkat tama po kayo. The more facility we have, the more ridership we have, the more decongestion we have achieved. And if we have more decongestion that we have achieved, then traveling will be more comfortable, will be more relaxed, and more importantly, will be more safe. Dagdag ko na rin ho dyan. May subway yata kaming sinabi dyan kanina. Gagawin ho yun. The first Philippine subway. In fact, nakaabang na ho yung mga dokumento na kung saan mabibigyan realidad yung pangarap na magkaroon tayo ng first subway system. Bibigyan ko ho kayo ng human story side remark. Ano ho yun? Ako ho ilalakad sa first week of August na kung saan titignan ko kung paano ginagawa yung subway system. Bababaho ako sa tunnel, yung boring. Kasi sabi ho nila, pag ginagawa yon, wala kang mapapakinggan sa ibabaw. No? At wala ring traffic sa ibabaw. Ako ho mismo, kasama ang kalihim na Bilyar, Mark Bilyar, kasama si kalihim Jokno, kung papalarin ang kanyang schedule, kami ho, bababa sa tunnel para makita yon. Mamaya ho, sasabihin ko rin ho kung ano pang titignan namin. Sabihin ko na nga. Meron ho kaming plano na kasabay nung pagpatayo nung subway sa pagpaigting ng railway system. Magtatayo ho kami ng Railway Institute. Okay? Na kung saan yung mga taong magtatrabaho, maghahanap buhay sa release ng tren sa subway ay maitetrain at mabibigyan ng sapat at tamang pag-aaral kung saan dapat asikasuhin, patakbuhin at imintena yung railway system. Hindi lang ho como ikaw ay isang engineer, pwede ka nang maging trabahador sa train. Hindi ho. Bibigyan kayo ng kinaukulan training. Alam niyo ho ba yung isang titignan ko sa Tokyo? Ang sabi ho nila, in 3 minutes, pag pumasok yung tren sa Tokyo, in 3 minutes, malinis at maayos na. Gusto ko hong makita yon. Pagkat yung aspeto ng paglilinis ng coaches, ilalagay din ho namin sa Railway Institute. Pag natapos ho ito, meron ka ng nakapundar na mga tao na pwedeng magtrabaho sa tren, saka sa subway. Isa ho yan ang kadahilanan kung marahil nagkaroon tayo ng problema sa MRT at sa LRT. Pagkat yung pagbalangkas ng education, training, and learning to really operate a railway system was not institutionalized. Ito ho, i-institutionalize natin.
Secretary, last na lang from my end, yung sa mga paliparan natin na problema rin ho yung air traffic. May plano ro tayo bang dagdagan yung mga night-rated airport natin? Kumusta ho yung bagay na yan?
Nagpapasalamat ho ako sa inyong katanungan. Napakagandang katanungan ho yan. Ito yung aking pagpapaliwanag. Una ho, estado ng pangkalawakang tinatawag natin Philippine Skies. Noon ho, nung dumating kami, boss, 3 radar lang. Ngayon ho, as I stand today, 13 radars. Natayo na ho yan. Pati sa Zamboanga meron. Ibabahay ho yan sa tinatawag kanina na ATS, Air Traffic Management System. Na kung saan, bawat anuman panghimpapawid na sasakyan na lilipad sa ating tinatawag na skies, makikita ho yon. Makikita rin ho yung punctuality record. Makikita rin ho yung flying schedule. Mauupo ka sa kaap, makikita mo parang sinihan na malawak. In fact, at this time, kung gusto nyo ho, under the auspices of Kalihim Abella, I will invite you to visit. I will open that officially in October, November thereabouts. But before we open, kumbidahin ko kayo, ipapakita ko sa inyo. At maiengganyo kayo at magyayabang kayo. Meron palang ganito? Oo, meron. Kukumbidahin namin kayo. Tahimik na ginagawa namin yan, tahimik na tatapusin namin. Pabilisan hong sasabihin ko, hindi ho amin paman yung proyekto na yan. Nadatnan ho namin yan, pero nakabinbin. In fact, yung mga knobs, ibang system na nabinbin na matagal. Tinapos na ho namin. at matatapos na. Kumbidahin ko kayo. Siguro, merong isang proyekto yung ang ating Kalihim Abella, sir. Invite them there. I will show you. So that you can show and you can write to the Filipino public that they can expect a more safe facility in the Republic initiated during the time of President Duterte.
Follow-up question from Maricel Halili of TV5 and then Pia Renada of Rappler.
Hi sir, good morning. Sir, just to follow up on the
Good morning
Railway
po.
Institute, kailan po yung target natin na ma-establish yun? And is the government...
Kung yan, i-establish ho namin dapat yan bago maging operational yung subway saka yung mga tren. Kasi ho, yung mga magtatrabaho sa subway, pati yung customer service, pati yung magtitikit, pati yung mga naglilinis, kailangan accredited doon sa institute na yon. Kausap ko na ho ngayon, pwede naman sigurong sabihin yan, kausap ko na ho yung JICA, na kung saan pinag-uusapan ho namin yung curriculum, na kung saan pinag-uusapan ho namin kung saan ilalagay. More or less alam na ho namin kung saan ilalagay. Saan daw? Abangan ang kasunod. Para kang...
But, sir, can you just give us an idea kung ano-ano yung mga option natin na location for the institute?
Meron hong along Depot nakakabit sa tren o sa subway. Huwag nyo nang tanongin kung saan. Yung isa ho, kailangan natin ng pangmalawakan na lugar kasi may simulator na kung saan may simulated relays, may simulated coaches, so malaking lugar. Sa tingin mo, ma'am, may malaking lugar ba dito sa Mindiola? Wala. May malaking lugar ba dyan sa Quiapo? Wala. Maghahanap tayo ng malaking lugar. Morole. Ha? Uy, kayo nagsabi niya, ha? Ganun ho yan, ma'am. Ginagawa ho natin yan. Please pray for us that we are able to do all these things.
Okay, Pia of Rappler. And then Tina Mendez of Philippine Star.
Hi, sir. Sir, just on the Uber and Grab regulation issue. Sir, right now there's an impasse in this issue. Yung Uber and Grab, they feel that the requirements are too much for them to comply. The sir, may pending, marami daw pending
tanong
pong
ka ng tanong. Wala naman sa
applications.
report ko yan.
Sir, kasi public interest po
Ay,
kasi
hindi. Sasagutin
yung
ko
issue.
yan. Inumpisahan ko na sagutin dyan kanina.
Oh, sir. So,
As-
sir, do you think there's a middle ground in this issue, given how important Uber and Grab is are to commuters? Is there a way for LTFRB regulation to be made more efficient, faster, para, sir, they can go back to servicing commuters?
Let me make it very, very clear, ma'am. Number one, the Department of Transportation is all and has nothing and is not against any share ridership. Number two, that the DOTR is not against technology, the use of technology to improve the transport system in the country. Number three, we are not against convenience for the riding public. We are not against clean motor vehicles. Please remember, as I was explaining earlier, two entities. One is the TNC and the other is the TNB. The TNC, Transport Network Corporation, this is the entity that owns the app, yung application, na kung saan kailangan mo yan pag nagrehistro ka ng as a TNB. Yung TNB ho, hindi ho pumupunta, yung karamihan sa amin, pumupunta sa TNC. Ngayon, meron hong 56,000 as of this time na TNBs. Yung mga sasakyan na naka-affiliate sa TNC. Ang hinihingi ho namin, pwede ho ba itong TNC or TNBs, kailangan kumuha ng rehistro at prangkisa sa LTFRB. Kasi ang LTFRB ho, ang nagko-control ng public utilities, public utility vehicles. Yung TNBs is in the concept and nature of a public utility. Hindi ho ba na nararapat lang na saklaw ng regulatory function ng LTFRB ito? Pagkat yung mga sasakyan na yon, una, kailangan ma-assure kami na maayos. Hindi ho dumadaan sa amin yan. Pangalawa, yung mga driver na nagmamaneho at nagdadrive ng mga sasakyan na yon, hindi ho ba meron din kami pruweba dapat na sila'y mahusay at magiting? Number 3, kailangan no malalaman namin kung merong insurance yan o hindi. Kaya nga nandoon yung requirement number 4, case number so and so. Out of the 56,000 na nag-oopera ngayon dyan sa kalsada natin, ang nakarehistro lang ho is less than 10%. Ang sinasabi lang ho ng LTFRB is, pwede ba magrehistro naman kayo? What makes you so different with the other public utility vehicles? Just because you are a TNC, hindi ka na magre-rehistro, hindi naman yata tama yan. Hindi naman yata tama yan. Yun lang ho ang inihingi namin. Kasama nyo kami, kapit-bisig tayo, for a convenient transport system. Dapat kasama rin din namin kayo para magkapit-bisig tayo, para lahat na naghahanap buhay, pumapasok din ho sa tamang regulasyon at sa plataforma ng tinatawag na plataforma ng compliance.
Sir-
Yun lang po yun.
Sir, given the state of things, is the LTFRB inclined to renew the franchises of Uber and Grab?
Ma'am, hindi ho sinisingle yung Uber and Grab. Pinangalanan mo, papangalanan ko na rin. Nagpasaho kami ng omnibus franchising, yung modernization program, na kung saan nalalaad doon. Una, terminated na yung moratorium ng prangkisa. Mag-apply kayo ng prangkisa ngayon. Bakit ayaw nila? Yun lang ho naman yun eh. Ngayon, ganun pa man, marunong din ho naman kaming makinig. Kakatawag-tawag lang sa akin ni Chairman Delgra na kung saan sabi niya, Sir, bagamat ito yung platform of compliance na ating gustong baybayin, nag-agree na ho kami na magtayo ng isang technical working group para mag-usap, para matuunan ang mga problemang kaya naming solusyonan. Gagawin namin yon para sa TNC? Hindi ho. Gagawin namin ho yon for the public, para sa mga mananakay.
Sir, July 26, you will still be catching
I will leave that
undocumented.
discretion and judgment call to LTFRB at this time.
Sir, last question from me, just on the emergency powers for Metro Manila traffic. Sir, will you still be asking for these powers? Will you be asking the President to ask for these powers during his SONA?
Ano yan, ma'am?
Yung emergency powers po over traffic. Will you still want the President to ask for this from Congress
Ganito
during
ho
his
yun.
SONA?
Yung sa emergency power, sa aming kaalaman, nagawa na ho ng Department of Transportation ang inaakala nilang dapat gawin upang ang panukalang emergency power ay pumasa. Para ho makapasa ang isang panukala, kailangan ho magdaan sa Kongreso at sa Senado at pipirmahan ng Pangulo. Iiwanan na ho namin sa kanila yung aspeto na yan. Naniniwala po ako at aking pinagdadasal na yung panukala na inaakala naming kailangan namin ay isang panukala rin na makaisa yung ating mga mababatas. I will give them the benefit of the doubt, the sincerity of governance, and I do believe that they have the sincerity of governance. If it comes, and it will be a great, great help. Ang sasabihin ko lang ho, ma'am, hindi ho kami yung breed ng tao na gusto ko niyan. Pag ayaw mo ibigay, hindi na ako kikilos. Hindi ho kami ganyan sa DOTR. Gusto ko niyan, pag ayaw mo ibigay, yung mga pamaraan na available sa amin, gagawin namin para ipalit sa tinatawag na public welfare and common interest.
Okay. Next, Tina Mendez of
Okay, ma'am.
Philippine Star. And then Hannah, Dexter, and Joseph.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Sir, sabi niyo kanina, we expect, or the public should at least expect in the next 4 weeks sa improvement sa MRT operations.
Ay, hindi, ma'am. Ang sinabi ko ho yan, pag i-reply mo, in the next 4 weeks, meron kaming aksyon na gagawin sa sistema, sa service provider, sa, tama ba, Cesar? Ngayon, ang tinanong, ibig niyo bang sabihin may ginahawa na? Teka, liwanagin muna natin yung salitang ginahawa. Tama ba, ma'am? Kasi, kanyan graduated word yan. Yung mga ginhawa sa iba, baka hindi ginhawa sa iba rin. Kaya liniwanag ko. Yung tanong niyo po, ma'am, after I have said that.
Sir, ang gusto ko po sana malaman, paki-outline po kung may mga kontratang binuksan o sinara ang Duterte administration ngayon katulad sa signaling, kasi yung signaling nung nakaraang administration, merong kontrata sa Bombardier, isa multi-million contract. Tinuloy po ba ninyo ito, ni-review o kumuha ng bagong contractor? Pati po yung mga coach, ano na po bang updates? Kasi we understand po yung explanation nyo na sama-sama, magkakarugtong po ang problema sa tamang coach, tamang signaling, sa tracks para po mapaganda ang operations ng
Sige
MRT.
ho.
Ano po bang particular na updates na ginawa
Meron
ng
kami mga
administration?
sinisilip ngayon na pina-audit. Yung tinatawag na roadworthiness ng mga relays, yung mga equipment. Meron kami mga tinatawag na mga tinitingnan namin yung mga present na mga responsibilidad ng self-provider sa maintenance. Pinag-aaralan namin yung mga kontrata. And now, while we study this, we are looking for our options. And options to either change, continue, partly change, partly continue. Tama ba? Pinag-aaralan yan. Ngayon hihingin nyo, meron na ba mga kontratang napirmahan? Nandiyan pa ho sila. So, ibig sabihin, wala pa in relation to them. Pinag-aaralan ba? Akala ko ho nun, on a knee-jerk reaction, mabilis na sagutin yung mga katanungan yung ganyan. Pero nung pinag-aralan ho namin, yung talagang mga nangyari at nangyayari, malalim ho pala ang punot dulo niyan. Kaya pinag-aralan nyo yan, ano ba yun? Give us a little bit of time. Maalala nyo, ma'am, meron, baka nakalimutan mo na, meron pa nga yun ng isang trend, lumagpas. Maalala nyo yun? Ma'am, hindi ko nakakalimutan yun. Pinag-aaralan din yun, ma'am.
Sa signaling system po ba ang naging problema nun?
Signaling system, problema. Power, problema. Relays, problema. Spare parts, problema. Tao, problema. Talagang matindi ho, ma'am. Talagang matindi.
Sir, yung review po ninyo maliban po sa COA, sa pag-task nyo sa COA ng
Alin
review,
pa?
yan pong mga reviews niyan, sa department or yung na-request nyo rin sa COA?
Meron din
Pa-clarify.
hong ginawa yung COA kasi hindi naman ho tayo isang departamento na mag-aantay lang ng hulog ng langit ng iba. Meron din ho kami rini-review. Pero meron ho silang mga konklusyon and findings na tugma sa konklusyon at findings namin. Huwag mo munang tanungin, ma'am, ano yon? Kasi lalabas na, you will bring the rabbit out of the box.
Para po
Ika
sana
nga.
mas maintindihan
Ikaw
natin. Anyway, salamat po, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Last 3 questions, please. Hannah, Dexter, and Joseph.
Last na? Gusto ko pa eh.
Last 3 questions, sir.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Sir, na-mention niyo po, sir, nalilipat na po kayo. Yung office ninyo sa Clark. Kumusta na
Yes,
po yung
ma'am.
paglipat, sir?
Sure, sure.
Nakalipat na
Lilipat
kayo,
ho
sir?
kami. Ay, sinabi ko nun, finish or not finish, di ba? O, lilipat kami. Bago matapos ang July, finish or not finish.
So hindi pa, palipat pa lang, sir.
Ha?
Ongoing
Palipat,
na yung...
ma'am.
Palipat pa lang, sir. Okay.
Lilipat ho kami. Hindi ho ganyang kadali lumipat. Kasi maraming ayaw lumipat. You know? Pero alam ko ho na yung paglipat ng opisina is dictated by wise and sound judgment. Not only for DOTR, but for the country as a whole in its effort to help decongest certain areas in metropolis. Ang decongestion ho, ang trapiko at transportasyon, ang solusyon ho dyan ay hindi lang ho nakaatang o nakalaan sa Department of Transportation. Lahat ho tayo ay dapat mag-ambag-ambag ng konting sakripisyo upang matugunan yung problema ng transportasyon at trapiko. Isang pamaraan ho ng Department of Transportation, kasama na rin ang aking sarili, ilipat namin sa Clark. Ilipat namin sa Clark. Hindi ho madali yung desisyon na yan, alam ko. Hindi rin ho naman pinababayaan yung mga empleyado na kung saan may inconvenience. Ina-address ho namin yan. Gusto mo, in executive session, sabihin ko mamaya kung paano ko ina-address yan. Hindi ho basta lilipat na lang at pabayaan yung mga empleyado. Hindi ho. Meron kaming mga ginagawa. Of course, pag binigyan mo yung ganito, minsan gusto nila ng ganyan. Buti nga kung ganyan lang, gusto pa nila yung aking ganyan. Ano?
So before mag-end ng July, sir, makakalipat na tayo.
Yes, ma'am, lilipat.
Okay.
Maski
Okay.
mag-isa akong lilipat.
Last two questions. Dexter
Tama kayo,
Ginita
ha?
and Joseph Morrow.
Sec, good noon. Balikan ko lang yung issue ng Transport Network Corporation tsaka yung transport vehicle service.
Nagsa-sideline ka ba? Wala naman.
Hindi naman. Plano pa lang.
Kita mo? Alam mo,
Sir,
napakalas din ako sa ganyan.
Sir, Secretary, sino po ba ang dapat na kumuha ng prangkisa? Yung TNC o yung TNVS?
Sa aming pananaw, dapat yung kwan, yung
Individual.
TNBs.
Oo.
Okay?
Yung
Dapat yung TNC, pag nag-apply sa kanila, saan ang prangkisa mo? Okay? Ang ginagawa, basta may auto ka, affiliate ka na. Naku naman.
Yun ang hinihiling nyo
naman
ngayon?
yung approach na yan.
So yun ang hinihiling nyo ngayon sa Transport Network Corporation, nakabilang doon sa mga requirement na mga kukunin nilang
Kumuha sila
TNVS.
ng approval ng LTFRB. Kasi, yung trabaho na yon is clothed with public interest. And because it is clothed with public interest, the regulatory functions of certain agencies and government must come to fore.
Sir, Secretary, yung sa ang issue is hindi sila kumukuha ng prangkisa sa inyo. Gaano ba kalaki yung babayaran ng mga TNVS sa pagkuha ng prangkisa?
Kakapilanggot lang yan sa kinikita nila, boss. That's not, how much is not the issue. I don't know what is their issue. Consider the following. If you have applicants of TNBs in your TNC, na ang mga accredited is 56,000, paki-explain mo nga bakit less than percent ang dumadaan sa LTFRB?
So you are saying na i-recall nila yung mga walang prangkisa na TNVS na
Dapat
members
wag
nila?
nilang pa-applyin at yung mga hindi pa-applyin pumunta sa LTFRB.
Okay. Sir,
We will not be unreasonably, will not be withholding permits and franchises unreasonably.
okay. Sec, may ba tayo? Ano naman ang ginagawa ng
Ilang
kagawaran?
auto ba kukunin mo?
Sec,
Ilan auto? Isa?
wala po.
Wala pa. Plano.
Yung sa issue naman ng taxi, anong mga ginagawa din ng kagawaran para
Ay,
mapaganda ang
nako.
serbisyo?
Dapat ang taxi maging mas malinis. Yung mga driver nila, maraming mga hinahagad ng quality standards. Ipapaigting ho namin yung standards on the road. Hindi lang ho, para hindi naman isipin ang taxi, sinisingle out ho dyan. Hindi lang ho taxi, jeep, bus, P2P. Lahat ho yun, kailangan may standards of performance.
Balikan ko lang yung TNVS, sir. Sinabi mo, DOTR has nothing against shared ridership. Pinapayagan po ba o papahilulutan ng DOTR, LTFRB yung isang individual na kukuha ng prangkisa para sa napakarami niyang unit na i-register niya sa mga TNC.
Hindi, it will go into the normal franchising flow.
So hindi yan siya shared ridership.
Oo, hindi ho shared yun. Hindi shared. Alam mo ba yung paano nagumpisa yung TNCs sa aking pag-aaral? Pag-aaral ho ito in the matter of fact. Ibig sabihin nun, sa ibang lugar, maliban sa Pilipinas, pag meron kang spare time, may spare time, meron kang spare income by sharing your vehicle. Hindi naman require na noon, bago yan.
So
Pero
dapat-
dito, nagbilihan lahat yan, tapos rinihistro.
Isang owner, isang unit lang.
Ay, hindi ko sinasabi yan. Pwedeng issue na yan. Saklaw yan, ng tinatawag na technical working group na pauumpisahan ni Chairman Del.
May mga losses po ba, sir? Dahil binabagit yung SEC, 56,000 na ang meron ngayon, pero hindi pa, less than 10%
Nasa datos
lang.
namin yan?
How much po?
Alin?
Yung losses sa government, sa LTFRB, pagdating sa revenue. Sa revenue losses, dahil walang prangkisa, yung 56.
Ayun nga yung malungkot.
How much?
Wala.
Magkano po?
Anong
Ang
bibilangin mo? Wala.
revenue losses.
Ano? Kailangan yan, may share din yan, yung gobyerno, yung kinikita doon. Kung kailangan may mekanismo sa pamaraan yan, na yung plete na binabayaran o yung kita na inaambag, ibahagi nyo naman sa gobyerno.
No estimate, sir.
Joseph?
I cannot estimate time. I cannot. I don't like to make an estimate. Baka litsunin niyo ako dyan pag nagkamali ako. Pag nagkamali naman ako na mataas, magalit naman ang LTFRB sa akin dyan. Tama ba, boss?
Sir, hello po. Good morning po. Sir, you said that there are 56,000, no? And only 10% are registered.
36,000 last
56,
year.
sir. 56.
From last year ngayon, naging 56,000.
So 56, tapos 10% of those are registered. So meaning,
LTFRB.
apo,
The proportionate increase in the applicant or in the users of the application of the TNCs is not commensurate to the increase of those registering.
All right, okay,
Tanong,
sir.
why?
yes, sir. But, tama ba, July 21, the LTFRB suspended accepting applications?
Pa,
July 21, sir, daw, nagtumigil ng pag-accept ng applicants yung LTFRB.
pinatigil ho yung applicant kasi talagang rumarami na na sumosobra na.
So the reason that they are not registered is because LTFRB didn't want to accept applicants.
We wanted to have compliance. Once we have the compliance, then we can establish a cap.
Okay.
Kasi hindi naman pwedeng lahat na lang ng gustong, makakaragolya tayo niyan. So habang kinukuha namin yung datos na to, pinag-aaralan yung possible cap. Hanggang saan pwede magkaroon ang TNCs at TNBs sa kalsada?
Okay. So you said compliance. Compliance like what, sir?
Pumunta sila sa LTFRB. Mag-submit sila ng papeles nila, yung insurance, yung driver, yung capacity, yung kain ng auto, yung parang mabistahan.
Okay.
Tapos lalagyan doon yung case number. Maalala mo, minsan nakakita kang
Yes, sir.
case number.
Apo.
Ibig sabihin no, nagdaan na yun doon. Pag walang case number, hindi nagdaan doon. Pag hindi nagdaan doon, kolorum yan for all intents and purposes. Bakit may kolorum tayo sa taxi? May kolorum tayo sa jeepney? May kolorum tayo sa bus? Sa kanila walang kolorum.
Sir? Sir, kanina po sa statements nyo, sabi nyo, you have already terminated the moratorium on the franchises. So LTFRB should be accepting applicants
And then,
now.
ganito ho yan. Dati ho, nung pumasok kami, yung prangkisa ng bus, ng jeepney, wala. Tama ba, ma'am? Moratorium. Kaya nakaanak ng mga kolorum. Kasi na-hold yung mga pag-issue ng prangkisa. After 10 months of study, ilip na natin yung prangkisa. Pag-aralan natin yung road ratio capacity, yung destination ng kwan ay ibigay sa LGU, pinag-aralan ho yan. So, nalip na ho yan. Mag-a-apply ka ngayon pag wala kang prangkisa ng bagong prangkisa.
So, sir, limited to TNVs and TNVs, is the LTFRB going to accept applications already?
Alin ha?
Pwede po, tatanggap
If they
po.
qualify, they will accept.
Okay, so pwede na pong mag-apply. So yung pong 50,000 more or less na walang franchise, I call it, they can apply.
Oh, dumalaw sila. Sa,
Okay.
Hindi naman namin itinitigil yan eh.
And
Ang
how-
sinasabi lang namin, pakisunod na lang yung proseso.
So sir, we...
Susunod yan, pakibayad yung tax.
Okay. I mean, fair lang naman yun, sir. So, sir, we will not see a scenario where we have right now 56,000 mga Grab and Uber that the people ride and whatever na biglang mawawala sa kalsada.
Theoretically, yes.
Makikita natin, sir, yun?
Oh, theoretically, yes. Eh, kung hindi sila mag-apply, di realistically wrong. Kasi pahuhuli ko lahat yan. You know?
But if they apply, how soon will they be able to get the franchise?
Punta ho sila sa LTFRB.
And how soon? Kasi 26 yata, sir, uhuli na, di ba?
Tinanong na kanina sa akin yan, sabi ko, let's leave that judgment call to LTFRB.
Okay.
Kung i-extend nila o hindi.
So
Pero ang importante, they should make effort to apply. Hinihingi namin ngayon, hi, TNCs, nalilito ako, TNCs, asan yung listahan ng mga kanyo? Gumagamit ng application nyo. Ay, dapat ibigay naman nila yun. You know? Hindi ba, ma'am? Hinihingi lang naman ni Chairman Delgra yan. Hindi naman kami nakikipag-away. Lahat naman pwede maghanap buhay. Pero sa sumunod sa patakaran.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right. Thank you very much, Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade. Thank you,
Ang
sir.
bilis naman.
Bitin ba, sir?
Sir, maraming salamat ha.
Sir, last. Will you be
Punta na lang ako dyan.
amenable kayo, sir, na mag-grace period? I mean, 26 is fast approaching. Pwede bang parang tax
Boss,
to na...
pag sinabi ko yung opinion ko ngayon dyan at nakikinig si Delgra, paano ko kumpas si Delgra? Ikaw naman. Let's give the judgment call to them. Kasi I like autonomy of my agencies.
Sir, ito na lang, sir. Sir, what assurances can you give these drivers that their applications will be fast-tracked or at least will not be met with any red tape, na relatively painless po yung process for getting...
What is my...
Your assurance, sir, that the process will be efficient, that they can expect na
One
walang red tape?
one of the movers that will make the process efficient are people like you. The media, the social media. No, I'm not joking. Don't take this whole lightly. It is the pressure of the social media, the pressure of well-meaning media, the pressure of well-meaning public that will move us to fast-track everything.
Sir, it's
Thank you,
government
Pia.
that has control over these processes, right? So because I think the drivers are also scared na it will take too long, na their livelihoods will
Alam
be
mo, ma'am,
put at stake. So
hindi
what's the
ko
government
sila-
going to do?
Hindi ko ho sila masisisi na sila natatakot because they have been exposed to that kind of environment in the past. For many years, they have been exposed to that kind of uncertainty in the past. Ang masasabi ko lang ho, itong administrasyon Duterte, pagtiwalaan ninyo pagkat iba ho kami.
Thank you, Pia. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Secretary Tugade. I only have two statements to make. One is on the Bangsamoro Basic Law. One is on the extension of martial law. On the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law, the President has said that he would certify as urgent the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law. The proposed BBL is one of the solutions to address the root cause of the problems of Mindanao. The President wishes to lay the foundations of a constitutional Bangsamoro country within the realm of our republic during his term, marked by good and inclusive governance and sustainable and equitable development. on the proposed extension of martial law. The President has called for a special session for Congress to deliberate and consider the possible extension of Proclamation number 216. I would like to read the letter of the President to the Senate and to the House of Representatives. I will only read the first paragraph. Gentlemen, first to Senate President Senator Aquilino Pimentel III and to Speaker Representative Pantaleon Alvarez. Gentlemen, upon a thorough personal assessment of the current situation in Marawi City and other parts of Mindanao, and taking into account the reports and recommendations of the Secretary of National Defense as martial law administrator, the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, AFP, as martial law implementer, and the Chief of the Philippine National Police, PNP, I have come to the conclusion that the existing rebellion in Mindanao, which has prompted me to issue Proclamation number 216 on 23rd May 2017, will not be quelled completely by 22nd July 2017, the last day of the 60-day period provided under Section 18, Article 7 of the 1987 Constitution. For this reason, and because public safety requires it, I call upon the Congress to extend until 31st of December 2017, or for such a period of time as the Congress may determine, the proclamation of martial law and the suspension of the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus in the whole of Mindanao. End of statement. Thank you very much.
Questions? Okay, Dexter of DZMM.
So, sir, the President is asking more than 60 days of extension?
I
All
said
right.
until
31 of
yes,
December.
Until the 31 of December 2017.
More than 60.
Until the end of the year. Until the end of the year.
Sir, is it hindi ba siya unconstitutional? Dahil
Sir,
sinasaad sa batas na 60 days mag...
Ito po yung sinabi ng sulat, yan po yung nire-request niya, at nasa ano po yan? Nasa Kongreso po in order to decide.
So,
Thank you po.
Okay.
Wala
Joseph
na-
Moro.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, kalahating taon, sir? Ganong kadaming, ganong katagal yung kailangan natin?
Wala po. Sinasabi ko lang, binabasa ko lang po sa inyo ang sulat.
Of course, sir. Pero yung just to elaborate on the point.
Wala po tayong ma-elaborate except that it is to ensure public safety and in order to quell. So let me go back to that. The primary objective of the possible extension is to allow our forces to continue with their operation unhampered by deadlines and to focus more on the liberation of Marawi and its rehabilitation and rebuilding.
Sir, just one last.
Yes, sir.
On the special session, because I haven't had any experience covering special session for martial law, paano, sir, yung magiging format dyan? Do we need the President in Congress to explain why he needs this extended? Will he elaborate personally the grounds, or will it be just the leadership of the Congress?
The report as signed already by the President, I don't have the signed report, but is sufficient, I believe, but he may join. I'm not sure. Okay, that's just a conjecture. He may join, but he has called for it. Okay.
Rosalie Cos of UNTV and then Maricel Halili of TV5.
Hi, sir. May we know po kung yung extension until December, yun mismo yung recommendation ng AFP at PNP?
Yun na po ang sinabi. Yun, ang nakasabi po rito ay yan ang hinihiling ng Presidente. Okay? At sinabi po rito, he has taken into account the reports and recommendations. Okay.
Kasi lagi pong binabanggit ng Pangulo na magbe-base siya sa recommendation ng AFP at military.
Tama po kayo.
So, categorically, yung extension to December...
Categorically, kayo na po magbilang, it will be until the end of the year. Until the end of the year. It says, until
December
31st of December 2017. Yes.
Maricel Halili of TV5.
Sir, based on the recommendation of AFP and PNP, ano po yung reason nila bakit umabot ng December 31 yung request for an extension? Because I understand sa mga previous statement ni Presidente, he just needs 10 to 15 days to solve the problem.
Let me repeat the statement. Let me reread. I have come to the conclusion that the existing rebellion in Mindanao, which prompted him to issue proclamation, will not be quelled completely by 20. In other words, it will not be completely done until the 22nd of July.
Pero sir, pinag-uusapan din po ba dito, aside from extension, yung expansion or at least to concentrate
Sinabi po
lang sa
natin
Marawi?
na hanggang it will be all over Mindanao.
All right. So hindi
Opo.
kasama po yung...
The whole of Mindanao.
All right. Sir, last na lang.
Yes
So
po.
kung hindi po, I understand yung special session is on Saturday. So
Opo.
kailangan ma-approve na on Saturday.
Opo.
Because if not, does it mean na lifted yung martial law?
I cannot make that conclusion, but technically it ends on the 22nd.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Dexter Ganibe and then Pia Renada of Rappler.
Sir, doon lang sa provision ng Article 7, Section 18 ng Article 7, sinasabi niya dito na upon the initiative of the President, the Congress may extend and the suspension or the proclamation or suspension of the privilege of the habeas corpus for a period to be determined, by the Congress.
Opo.
Pero ang ginawa ng Pangulo ay nag-determine siya ng period kung saan
Ang sinabi
hinihiling
ko
niya.
po, kung pinakinggan nyo, until December 31st of December or for such period of time as a Congress may determine.
So nasa Kongreso pa rin, sir?
Opo.
Okay, Pia and then Joseph.
Sir, just to clarify, the December 31 extension, was that the recommendation of the police and the AFP? That
They made
period?
recommendations and the President has made his own proposal.
So that's not necessarily what they recommended.
That is the President's proposal to Congress.
All right. Second, sir, last night, Senate President Pimentel mentioned that what the President verbally requested was a 60-day extension. So, sir, why did he change his mind from that dinner to the
I'm sure
letter?
there was conversation during that dinner.
But, sir, so it meant that he changed his mind during the...
It meant that he finally
Overnight?
came to a conclusion.
Sir, may we just know when the letter was
Last night.
written? After the dinner?
Yes. Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Joseph.
Sir, so 5 more months, no? Pero hindi lang to maute. So we're sure, tama ba na he will deal, sinabi naman yun before, di ba? Na if he declares martial law, tapusin ko lahat ng problema sa Mindanao. So, yung 5 months, sir, na additional time that he needs for martial law is also to deal with other rebel groups?
It will have to deal with the local terrorist groups and anything that threatens public safety in Mindanao.
Okay, sir. Copy. Thank you.
If that is all, yes, Ms. Ina.
Okay. Ine.
Sir, why is martial law needed for 5 months? I mean, we had martial law in Mindanao for 60 days,
Yes.
and the AFP has been saying all the time that their operations were always positive. So it would imply that a threat posed by local terrorists are not, have diminished over the 60-day period. Bakit kailangan ng martial law again for a longer period and not just maybe intensified military operations?
The
Considering
President-
again that the threat
Yes,
level, I assume, is
that I
not
understand.
as...
The President has his own sources of information that prompted him to come to this conclusion. And I'm sure it is related, all of these things, and whatever information he has, is all related towards ensuring public safety due to certain forces that may be at play within the region.
And again, sir, is Malacanang or the President open to briefing lawmakers first on why another 5 months is needed?
I think that's the main reason why they have already they're having a special session.
Will the President be sending any representative to have us sit down and with
First-
the lawmakers?
First, he has a detailed report. And I cannot give this to you because I don't have the signed report. So it is best that what I give you, what we release to the press later, will be the signed report. Come again?
The letter, how many pages po? Kasama na po dyan yung detailed report?
7.
7.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Pia Gutierrez.
Sir,
All right. Anything else before
sir,
we...
the detailed report, yan ba yung the same as the DND report given to him? Or
Oh, no, definitely it's on the DND report. This is a summary report. Yeah.
Sir, could you tell us yung mga salient details ng letter?
Well,
If you cannot
basically,
give
it's
us
a
a copy.
chronological presentation. It's a chronological presentation and insights, and it just goes to show, it leads to the conclusion that there really is a need to extend martial law in the whole of Mindanao. Yes.
Sir, sabi ni Senator Soto, scary daw yung letter. The details of the letter is scary.
Sinabi ba niya?
Yes.
Oh.
Sir, did he mention other possible groups to justify yung extension ng martial law declaration in Mindanao that
No, I
poses a
suppose,
big threat to public security?
as far as I know, that whatever, there are no direct references to new forces, okay, new force, except that there is a possibility that there is a looming situation in Mindanao. Again and again, he has said that there's a looming situation in Mindanao which needs to be totally and completely addressed. Thank you.
Sir, threat coming from what group? Group, sir, na ano? Or
There are forces within and within. Okay.
Did he mention about the threat of drugs, sir, in the report?
That has always been obvious that he has mentioned that again and again, that the drugs are used to fund the rebel forces. Income from drugs, yes.
Okay, sir, just follow up from Chris Jose Avremate.
Come again?
Sir, aside from the recommendation from the DND Secretary, nagkaroon po ba ng consultations para dun po sa additional 6?
All of these things were done in consultation, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Joseph.
Sir, to justify the extension of martial law, how would you characterize the quote-unquote looming threat in Mindanao? Would it be rebellion, invasion?
That which definitely it has to be something that has to be related to constitutional reasons for declaring martial law.
So rebellion or invasion, sir?
At this stage, we'll just leave it to them to be able to redefine that.
Okay.
Okay, the gentleman beside Chris.
Mr. Tobesa, yes?
Sir, when do we expect the crisis in Marawi to end?
The what?
The crisis in Marawi, situation sa Marawi.
Let's put it this way, it's not just, as far as this letter is concerned, as far as this proposal is concerned, it is not just locally confined, it is actually a whole systems approach. It has to do with the network of forces that are all over Mindanao.
So it's not just Marawi anymore.
Well, they're addressing it Mindanao-wide. It's a Mindanao-wide situation.
And clear and present po yung threat na yan ngayon.
Well, enough to be able to declare that it should be extended.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Philip of Inquirer, and then Ace Romero of Philippine Star.
However, let me
Joseph.
just make this conclusion. The president has been prescient in seeing this, and so it's something that while it can be of concern, we can also be confident in the fact that he's taking a proactive action regarding the matter. It's not something. He's not being reactive. He's actually being proactive regarding the declaration of martial law all over Mindanao.
Sir, and related to that, it's very transparent, no? As far as his concerns are, his justifications for martial law. So, can we have a copy of the letter of the President to Congress, since it's public document?
When I have a copy of the signed document. Thank you.
Okay, Ace.
Yusek, do you have any information about the actual recommendation of the military and the Defense Department to the President?
Wala po. I don't have the actual.
Thank you.
All right.
May I read to you now the updates in situation in Marawi as of 1900 hours, 17 July 2017. Civilians killed by terrorists, 45. Civilians rescued, 1,723. Terrorists killed, 413. Recovered high-powered firearms, 511. Government casualties, 98. Buildings cleared as of yesterday, plus an extra 7. Good morning, every blessing. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella and Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade. That concludes our Palace Press briefing. Thank you very much. Back to the main studio of PTV4.